Alright, these are selected problems from this really big review, and these problems are a little bit more concentrated to what's actually on the final. So we're going to go ahead and get started with question number 1. It talks about the quadratic parent function, which is y equals x squared. And if you remember what it is, the quadratic, not the quadratic parent function, then you can go to your calculator and just type it in there. Once you do so, you can go to the table and plug the numbers in. Once you plug the numbers in, you can actually graph them. And once you do that, you could just connect them. First question asks for the vertex. Now, these are symmetric pairs. They both have the same numbers. If you notice all the way over here, all these are the same. And the one number that does not repeat, that's the one that's the vertex. Or you can look at the pictures right here. This is your vertex. The vertex is 0, 0. Name a pair of symmetric points. Symmetric points are points that are the same. The 9s are the same, the 4s are the same, the 1s are the same. Any one of those would work. Let's just stay with the 1s. Axis of symmetry is a vertical line that crosses the vertex. So it's a straight down line right here that cuts it in half. It always crosses the vertex. Since it always crosses the vertex, the answer is going to be right here in the vertex. It's the x value. X equals to 0. Whatever this value is right here in the vertex, that's what the axis of symmetry is. We're going to skip number 2 and go to number 3. What would the graph of function be affected if it was changed? So if you remember, whenever you have a y equal to, you can always just graph it. This is the original y equals x squared. This is a y equals 2x squared. It became skinnier. We call that a stretch, vertical stretch. Or you could just say skinnier. So whenever you multiply a number in front of the x squared, it becomes skinny. Whenever you divide a number in front of the x squared, it becomes wider or fatter. In this case, we're going to try it again. Y equals x squared minus 5. We have y equals x squared plus 2. Here's the one that's minus 5. Here's the one that's plus 2. Obviously, it went up. It went up 7 points. 7 units. Again, whenever you have an x squared and put a minus number under it, that's actually the y-intercept. Down 5. It's supposed to be here at 0, went down 5. And the other one right here is plus 2. Whenever you add a number after the x squared, it goes up. So it went up 2. So you can count the notches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go up 7. Or you could just ask yourself, what's 2 minus negative 5? That's also 7. The number's right there. What's the difference between them? Alright, now we're going to try it again over here. And this time we're going to try it without the calculator. Plus 3 means it went up 3. Minus 1 means it went down 1. Now, the fact that it's negative means that it's flipped. So instead of being like this, it went like this. And this is also flipped. So the only thing different between them is right here. Now we can use the calculator. X squared plus 3. And over here we have negative x squared, my fault. Negative x squared plus 3. And down here we have negative x squared plus 1, minus 1. Alright, here's the original 1. It's flipped and it's up to 3. Here's the other one. It's flipped and it's down. So you notice it went 1, 2, 3, 4, down 4. Or in this case, it's negative 1 minus 3, which is negative 4, down 4. You always do the new one, subtract it from the original. The new one, subtract it from the original. That tells you where you end up at. Again, these are really easy. You just have to do transformations. Here's another one. In this case, you notice they drew a half of a parabola and they want you to finish it. So, and they give you the equation. So whenever they give you the equation, all you have to do is go to the calculator and plug it in there. It's x squared minus 4. Now again, this just means that it's down 4 units. So you graph it, it looks just like a normal x squared. Instead of being a 0 though, it went down 4 units. Now, they're asking, when will it cross the x-axis again? This is the x-axis again. It's being crossed at 2. What is the metric point with negative 3, 5? We'll go to the table. Here's negative 3, 5. Same number is all the way down here with 3, 5. It's not always the same numbers like this. Negative 3, positive 5, positive 5. It's not always like that. That's why we use the calculator and check it out. And now that you have that, you kind of can see a pattern. And you can kind of work it out and fill it in. When graphed, what function would appear to be shifted 3 units up from this graph? So if I have y equals 2x squared minus 4, again, if it's a y equal to, I could just graph it, 2x squared minus 4. And they say, what would happen if it goes up 3 units up from here? So 1, 2, 3, we'll get negative 1. Y equals 2x squared minus 1. If you wanted to, you could just put plus 3 right there. End up with negative 1. But I like the picture better. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the table and find the vertex, the maximum, minimum, the axis of symmetry. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at y3. This is y3. So I'm going to pretend these are not here. I'm only looking at the x value and the y value. Alright, the vertex for y3. These are y3. These are symmetric pairs. These are all the same numbers, so this has to be the vertex. The x right here is 0. The y right there is 0. Now if you notice this, it starts off as 0, 0. So it'll be kind of like right here. The next number is negative 1, 6 and positive 1, 6. And you could tell that the numbers are going bigger than 0. 0, 6, 20. They're bigger. They're going above 0, which means that the vertex is a minimum. It's on the bottom of the graph. So if the numbers get bigger, then this is the smallest one. Small means minimum. What's the axis of symmetry? You always look at the vertex, and you want the x value. Axis, you're looking for the x value of the vertex. Alright, and I'm going to look at y2. Whenever you look at y2, you're going to pretend none of these other things exist. You're just looking at the x value and y2. Pretend these two are not here. Again, symmetric points. And our vertex is right here, x and y value, 0, 5. Again, these numbers are bigger, 6, 9, 14, so the numbers are above it, so this has to be the smallest number. This is your minimum. And the axis of symmetry, again, you take the x value of the vertex. Just the x, not the y. Alright, let's go ahead and work this out right here. It says, what is the equations? Just by looking at this, we look at the equations, you could tell that this right here is an x squared, and it's positive because it's facing up. If it was negative, it will face down. So we already know that it's y equals x squared. The only thing we got to worry about now is the vertex. If the vertex is at 0, we're done. That would just say y equals x squared and you're finished. In this case, though, the vertex is above by 1. Above means plus. 1 unit is 1 unit. For y2, it's not at 0. It's actually under. Under means minus. Minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 5. Now we're going to do number 17. These numbers right here have to do with the width. These numbers right here have to do with the area. So whenever we look at any dot, we have the width and the value of the area. First thing it says is the maximum area of the pen. So the highest area. Nobody's there. Right there. The highest area. Now, this number down here would be the width. This number right here would be the area. The highest area is 225. It says the width of the pen is this many feet and this many feet when the area is 200. So area is 200. If we come across 200, we notice that it touches twice, here and here. And these values are 10, the width, this is width, the width is 10, and 20. The vertex is this spot right here, and again that's 15 to 25. And what do these points mean? 15 is the x value, 225 is the y value. The x value is the width, so the width is 15. The y value is the area, and the area is 225. So these points, you always have to find out what the x value is, what the y value is. What do you know about this equation? I know that it has a negative x squared because it's facing upside down. Okay? All right, let's take a look at it now over here. Use the graph to answer the following question. What is the axis of symmetry? Again, axis of symmetry is an x value that you always get from the vertex. So let's find the vertex. The vertex is right here. It's negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need the x value from the vertex. Or you draw a line that cuts it in half, and you notice it touches the x at negative 2. Same thing. A symmetric point to negative 4, negative 5. So in this case, if you want to find something the same as 4, negative 5, then you need to go to 4, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the only point that corresponds to this is right here. That is negative 8, negative 5. Notice how it has the same y value. It has the same y value. Last question here. If the graph is shifted 3 units to the right, what would the vertex be? So the vertex is right here. So if I'm going to move it 3 spots to the right, 1, 2, 3, the vertex will be right there, which is 1, 5. Now see 1, 4. So whenever you're going to shift anything left and right, just look at the vertex and move in that direction. Here they ask for the domain and range. Remember, the domain and range is the x and the y value. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. All doctors wear IDs. And then sometimes when you're a doctor, some of the patients will die. And then you put them in a coffin. And that's what's going on over here. You're drawing a coffin to fit this graph. And whatever the box is that you're drawing, that's what we're going to use to get the domain and range. See how that works? So pretend this doesn't exist. You're just looking at the box. Alright, domain is the x. This is the x value right here. The box is right there at positive 4 and negative 2. So let's say negative 2, x, positive 4. The range is the y. This is the y. The box crosses it at negative 1 and negative 9. And since the dots are solid, filled in, I'll put the little equal sign right there. Notice the domain is x, the range is y. The vertex is right here, which is 2, negative 1. And the axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. Alright, notice there's a lot of these on the test, so it's pretty important to do these. 2 points on the graph are shown here. Now we have a problem because it's kind of hard to tell where it's supposed to be, but we do know that these are symmetric points, which means right in the middle of them, there's an axis of symmetry. So that's the trick. So we're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if we go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere right here. So you're going to try to come down, see where they meet. Axis of symmetry will probably be right there. That's the middle point value. Notice it crosses the x at 1. Alright, what will be the vertex of each problem? Again, I could show you how to do it by remembering h and k. But the best way to do any of these is just to plug them in a calculator and actually look at the value. So y equals, it tells you y equals, so all you got to do is pop it in there. See that? If you graph it, the vertex is right there. If you're going to use the graph for it, look for numbers that start repeating. There they are. 11, 8, 4, 7. If you notice, we already had them right here. You just change the value of this one. So whatever one inside the parentheses, you change it. So negative becomes positive. This one stays the same. Positive becomes negative. This one stays the same. Positive becomes negative. This one stays the same. So you could do the HK, but I would prefer that you just graph it and look at the answer choice. How do you find the perimeter? Whenever you have a perimeter, you have to add all 4 sides. So whenever you add all 4 sides, in addition, all you have to do is arrange them under each other and just add. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x. The perimeter is 4x plus 8. Now if you want to find the area, you have to multiply, and whenever we multiply, we always use the box method. x2, x2. This becomes x squared. This is 2x. This is 2x. This is 4. And you always do the little peanut thing here because these will add. 2x plus 2x is 4x. My final answer is x squared plus 4x plus 4. I'm going to do that again one more time just to practice it. So again, perimeter, you have to add all 4 sides. So you write them on top of each other. And you just add them. 7 plus negative 5 is 2, plus 7 is 9, minus 5 is positive 4. 2 plus 3 is 5, another 5 is 10. So 10x plus 4 is your perimeter. If you ever want to find the area, you have to multiply. Whenever we multiply an expression, we always use the box method. So 2x, 7, 3x, negative 5. 2 times 3 is 6, x squared. 7 times 3 is 21x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. X and negative 5 is negative 35. And don't forget, the middle ones, they shall add. So, negative 10 plus 21 is positive 11x. So, 6x squared plus 11x minus 35. Alright, number 36, write out the equation of the area of shaded region. This is pretty easy. It's the area of the big minus area of the little. Remember, area is length times width. So these two, that's the area of the big one. These two, that's the area of the little one. So we're going to multiply these two. 2x multiplied by x plus 7. This is 2x squared plus 14x. That's the area of the big. Take away area of the little. This is easy. X times x is just x squared. Now if you want to combine like terms, 2x squared plus 14x minus 1x squared gives you x squared plus 14x. And that's your final answer. But the thing to remember here is this right here, this formula. Find the area of the big one, subtract it from the area of the little one. This is some more practice on how to multiply. And if you just remember, whenever you use the box method, whatever's outside, that's what goes here. Whatever's outside, that's what goes here. You just multiply. Whatever's in the middle, you add them together. So we end up with x squared. 8 minus 6 is 2. Minus 42. Same thing right here. Just remember, whenever you're writing these down and it's a negative, make sure the little negative sign is high up there so you don't think it's subtracting. And you don't have to put plus to make sure that that's a positive 1. So this becomes 2x squared, negative 4x, 2x, negative 4. And these two shall add. End up with 2x squared minus 2x minus 4. Factoring is going backwards. So if you want to go backwards, you draw the box. The first one goes here. Second one goes in the corner. The last one goes here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to try to fill out the numbers that go up here that will make this work. Now you can do it by guessing, but the best thing to do is take the first number right here, multiply it by the last number right here, and bring that to the side. 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. Just think about all the numbers that multiply to give you a negative 8. And add those numbers right here, those are your answers. If I put 1 and negative 8, that won't give me negative 2, but if I put 2 and negative 4, that will give me this number right here. So, x squared is x and x times negative 4 gives me negative 4x, x times 2 is 2x. My answer is x minus 4 and x plus 2. Same thing right here. X squared, 5x, negative 6. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. And that gives me 1 and negative 6, 2 and negative 3. In order to get 5x, we're going to put 1 minus 6. 1 minus 6 gives me negative 5. So I have the right number. This will give me a 5. This has a 5. But this one's negative, this is positive. So if you have the right number but the wrong sign, you keep the numbers, but you change the signs. It's actually negative 1 and positive 6x. And then when you have what they have in common, you end up with the answer, which is x plus 6, x minus 1. Same thing right here. If they want it in factor form, again, you have to factor it. So it's the same concept. X squared, negative 9x, 18. And then you go 1 times 18. And this is the options that you're going to have. 1 and 18, 2 and 9. If you look right here, 6 and 3. This will be your answer right here, 6 and 3. The problem is 6 plus 3 gives you positive 9. That's negative 9. So you have the right numbers but the wrong signs. So you change their signs. Negative 3x, negative 6x, and then you just factor it. Answer is x minus 3, x minus 6. Alright, now sometimes they'll ask you to find an equation that has a solution. So if you have an equation, you factor it, and then you get the solution, you can actually go backwards from here. Positive 4, x equals positive 4. If you want to bring it back to this side, you have the opposite sign, so this becomes x minus 4. And opposite of minus 5 is positive 5. This right here is the factor form. If you want to bring it back to original equation, you put that in the box, and you multiply them. And then you can have the original equation. And you add those together to get a 1x. The original equation is x squared plus 1x minus 20. So, if you have the solution and you can go backwards, just take this opposite sign, take this opposite sign, put it in the factor form, and then you can multiply and get the original equation. Same thing right here. If you want to go backwards, this becomes x plus 8, x minus 2, and if you multiply an equation, you can get this one, but they don't want that. They want the factor form, so we could just stay right here. Alright, here they're going to say it in English, and we have to write it down in math language. The length of a swimming pool is 4 times the width, so the length equals 4 times the width. So just like saying L equals 4W. The area is 256. So length times width equals 256. So how do I write that down? Well, I know what the length is. The length is 4W. So instead of L, I'm going to put 4W. 4W times W equals 256. So that's the equation. Now in order to solve this, all you have to do is plug into your calculator. A lot of times you look at an equation, it doesn't seem in the right letters, so you change it and put the correct letters there. 4x times x equals 256. Now I either put 256 here, or I could just kind of look at the table over here for 256. It's the same thing. There it is. The answer is 8. Now the letter we're solving here is W, so width is 8. What I do know about the length is 4 times the width, so that's 4 times 8, which is 32. So, in order to do this one right here, you write out the equation, change the letters to x, and look for this value in the y. Let's take a look at this one right here. Parabola has given these intercepts, determine the following: zeros and the roots. Now the word zeros and roots just means x-intercept. So in order to figure that out, all you got to do is graph it. Negative 6, 0, 0, negative 10, 4.50. This is a y-intercept. This is an x-intercept. This is an x-intercept. So whenever they're asking for the zeros, you want the x values, this one and this one. This one doesn't even have an x value. It only has a y value. So right here, say x equals negative 6, x equals 4.5. And this is also the same thing because those two words mean exactly the same. The zeros and x-intercepts, again, are just the x-intercepts. So all you have to do is graph this in the calculator. 2x squared minus x minus 15. If you just graph it, they're right here and right here. Now again, this is a multiple choice test. You can tell this is a 3, and it's like negative 2.7. If you look on the multiple choice test and it says negative 2.8, that's pretty close. I'll take that. Again, this is another word problem, just like this one right here. Just write down the equation, plug in the calculator. In this case, you don't even have to worry about the equation. They give it to you. So all you got to do is look for this one and the y. So I go to my calculator, go to y equals. It says h, the calculator likes x, so that's x squared minus 3x. And I go to my table and look for 40. Hey, same number. Alright, sometimes they'll give you something in standard form, and you're supposed to find the vertex and the y-intercept by just putting it into the standard form. So you get the vertex form to the standard form. This is really easy. All you have to do is remember, what do we handle first? We always handle exponents before we handle multiplication or subtraction. So this is really simple. You use x minus 5 squared. Now if you remember, x minus 5 squared is just x minus 5 times x minus 5. And we never multiply these right here except by using the box. So we write right there, x minus 5 is x squared minus 5x plus 25. These add. So that inside you still have a y, you still have the 2. And here you have x squared, this gives me minus 10x, minus 10x plus 25. And the outside we have minus 16. So, once you get that, now you can continue to the next problem, the next part. The next part is order of operations. We multiply before we subtract. So we're going to multiply everybody by 2. So that gives me 2x squared minus 20x plus 50. And outside, we still have minus 16. Final answer is 2x squared minus 20x plus 34. That's your standard form. Now, if you want to use that to find the vertex and y-intercept, just graph and look at the picture. Again, same thing. You do this first, you do the second, you do this third. So, x minus 3 squared gives me x squared minus 6x plus 9. You do the second, start multiplying, stop multiplying, negative 3x squared plus 18x minus 27, and then you do this third. Final answer is negative 3x squared plus 18x, and that one gives me minus 15. Alright, again, you find the vertex y-intercept by just looking at it. A rectangle has a length that is 3 feet longer than twice its width. So we're going to write the expression to represent the area. Again, every time they talk about rectangles, I like to draw it. This is the width, this is the length, and then they give me extra information that the length, that's this one, is 3 longer, that's plus, twice the width, 2 times the width. Now whenever you have the word longer than, more than, less than, all that stuff, you have to flip them. It actually becomes 2w plus 3. It looks better anyways. So the expression represents the area. It's the length times the width. Now if I want to solve this, I can go ahead and plug into your calculator. You turn it on, just like we did a little earlier. Go to y equals, then like x here. And all we got to do is locate the area. Now the area is 44, so just look for 44. The answer is 4. The width is 4. The length is 2 times 4, which is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. Alright. Now in this case, again, the same thing. This is a y equals 2, and this is the value that we always look for in the y. Turn it on. You have negative x squared plus 4x minus 4. You go to the table, you look for negative 8. And I don't see it here. And I don't see it here. Maybe they should have put negative 9 for us to see it out. Any which way, that's how you would do it. Okay? In this case, I think it's probably a typo. There should have been a 9. But let's say it's negative 8. All you got to do is go over here, look for negative 8. Draw a line right here. And wherever it's crisscrossing, that's your answer. Okay? Same concept. Same thing right here. We're looking for the letter, the number 8 in the y. So go to x squared. And we'll put x squared minus 1. And again, we're looking for positive 8. Here we have it at 3. And here we have a negative 3. Number 31, the factored form is right there. Which of the following is not true? First of all, they're asking for the x-intercept. It starts off with y equal 2. So all I got to do is go to y equals 2 and plug it in. X plus 3x minus 2. And if I graph it, I can tell you right now where it crisscrosses at. Negative 3, positive 2. So at this point, this is correct. This is a parabola. Yep. Looks like a U. U shape means parabola. It opens down. This is false. This is opening up. And if this is false, then this one has to be true, because they're asking you which one's false. And again, if you use the box method and multiply it out, you will get this. Again, another word problem that has to do with drawing the length of a swimming pool. Alright, let's go ahead and work it out. So this is the width, this is the length, and they say the length, so this one's going to change, is 2 times the width, parentheses W. So now we have length times width equals to 200. If you want to solve it, all you got to do is go to your calculator, type it up just like we've been doing. Again, the calculator doesn't like W, it likes X. And we're looking for 200. Answer is 10. Alright, how many solutions are there? This is really simple. All you have to do is graph it. If it touches once, 1 solution. If it touches twice, 2 solutions. If it does not touch, no solution at all. So you go over here, x squared. Look at the picture. That's 2 solutions. 1, 2. Do it again. Again, 2 solutions. Alright, here we go right here. We have the graph is shown below. There's your answer. Where are the zeros? The word zeros just means x-intercepts. So right here and right there. X equals negative 1. X equals to 3. Try this one right here. What are the roots if it equals to 10? So we're looking for this number in the y. Here's the y. Here's 10. The first answer is negative 2. Second answer is 4. Find a solution. This is when you work it out. You make this equals to 0. You make this equals to 0. So you're going to put 2x minus 7 equals to 0. X plus 3 equals to 0. And if you subtract 3 from both sides, this is your first answer. If you add 7 to both sides, you'll end up right here. But we're not done, so we divide by 2. There's your answers. So how do you find a solution? You always work it out. You work it out by making this part equals to 0 and this part equals to 0. And then you just solve it. And whatever number is in front of the x, you divide. If there's no number in front of the x, you're done. Like right here, there was no number in front of the x, we were done. But if there is a number in front of the x, you divide by that number. These are the solutions. Solve with the square root method. This is pretty easy. You get the x squared by itself, and then you square root it. So if we have x squared minus 60 equals to 4, just add 60 to both sides. And then the opposite of a square is a square root. These two cross out. X equals to 8. And the trick is to always put a plus or minus in front of your answer. Same thing right here. You always want to get the square by itself. It is. The opposite of a square is a square root. So this gives me x minus 10 equals positive and negative 6. Now, you can't stop here. You want to get rid of that minus 10, but there's two answers on the right, so you have to write it down twice. So x minus 10 equals to positive 6, x minus 10 equals to negative 6. And now you can get rid of that 10. First answer, x equals 16. Second answer, x equals to 4. Solve each equation by using the quadratic formula. This is really easy. First, you have to follow some steps. Step number 1 is always put it in standard form. This is really important. Make everybody's on the same side. And then you put ABC, and the third part is put into the formula. So a lot of people start right here, and they get it wrong because they missed step number 1. So make sure first it's in the standard form. This is in the standard form, ABC. This is in the standard form, ABC. This is wrong. This one's in the wrong spot. So before you even start, you have to move that positive 2x to the other side. And whenever you change side, you change the sign. So positive 2x just becomes negative 2. And then you can find ABC, and then you can write down the formula. The formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative b is negative 3. B squared, b is negative 3. A is 9. And c is negative 2. And then all you got to do is plug that in the calculator and press enter. Let's do that again. You take a look at the setup right here. You notice it's not in standard form. You remember this is the first step. So that means we got to get rid of this and put it right here in the middle. So again, whenever you change sides, you change signs. Positive 5x just becomes negative 5x. And now we have ABC. And now we have the formula. Again, the formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. But I don't like to write it with the letters. I like to write it with parentheses. That way I know exactly where to plug in the answers, the numbers that I found. And that way I don't make a mistake with the negative signs or anything. Negative b, b's right there, that was negative 5. A is 3. C is 4. And then just plug in the calculator, press enter. Alright, so it is in standard form. This is A, this is B, this is C. Then you write down the formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. B is negative 5. A is 2. C is 2. Alright, negative negative becomes positive 5. That's good. Here, they forgot the parentheses. So this is the mistake. Alright? Because if the parentheses were correct, this would be positive 25, not negative 25. Let's solve for p. In order to solve for p, I got to get rid of that 6. So that's multiplying. Opposite multiplication is division. So I have p squared equals m over 6. And the opposite of a square is the square root. Final answer, p is equal to plus or minus the square root of m over 6. Same thing right there. When I get the p by itself, got to get rid of that k. The only difference here is that k actually crosses out. So I have p squared equals to 5. Opposite of a square is a square root. These cross out. P is equal positive and negative square root of 5. Really, really easy. We're almost done. The formula here is y equals ab to the x. A is your start value. B is your multiplier, whatever you're multiplying by. In this case, you're starting with 100, and you're multiplying by 2. When you multiply something by 2, it grows, it gets bigger. If it multiplies by something less than 1, it shrinks. So this is growth. And how many will be there in 4 hours? That's easy. It says y equal to, so just go to y equals. You have 100 times 2, and on top of it is a little x. And if you go to 4, the answer is 1600. So whatever you're multiplying by, if it's bigger than 1, it grows. If it's smaller than 1, it decays. This is smaller than 1, so it's decaying. By the way, if you don't know, just put in a calculator, the numbers get smaller. How much will it be after 5 hours? You go to y equals, plug it in there. 125, open parentheses, 0.75, close parentheses, on top of it there's an x. Look how the numbers are shrinking. 93, 70, 52. We'll look at how much it is after 5 hours. We look at the number in front of 5, which is 29.6. Let's just say 30. Which represents a population which doubles. Okay, this number talks about where you start, where you start, where you start, where you start. So I don't need the start number, I need the rate. This is multiplying by 100, multiplying by h, multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. So the answer, these are both multiplying by 2. But don't forget, it's supposed to have an x on top. This one doesn't have an x on top. This one has an x on top. The answer is D. So remember, it's y equals a, b to the x. You have to have all three of them. A letter up here, the rate right here, the start value right here. The percent's a little different. It's y equals a times 1 plus or minus the percent to the x. Alright, the population starts off at 300, so that's a. 1 plus or minus, it increases, that means it's plus. 3%, I can't use the percentage here, I'm going to make it a decimal, so I move it over twice to the x. I plug that in the calculator. You go to the table. And once you go to the table, you're looking for how much it is in 10 years. 403. Alright, what is the rate? You look right here, you multiply them by 5. The rate is 5. Here you're straight up dividing. 56 divided by 8 is 7. And then you get to the letters, and for the letters you have to expand them out. 3 A's, 5 B's. In the bottom we have 5 A's, 2 B's. Then you cross out. You have 2 A's on the bottom, 3 B's on top. So as long as you expand these things out, they're not that hard at all. What is the common difference? What is the common ratio? For those who need these formulas right here, remember A1 is the first term. The first term there is 3. Plus sign is plus sign. The calculator doesn't like n, it likes x. And D is the difference. From 3 to 8, you're adding 5. You're adding 5. You're adding 5, so the difference is 5. Common difference is 5. Here we have our y equals. And the answer at 24 is 118. So the weird thing here is this formula has all these little letters in there, and it just looks weird. Just remember that's a y equals. That's the first term. That's why it has a 1 there. This is an x. This is the difference. So as long as you find the first term, put it here, and the difference, you put it there, you got your y equals. Same thing right here, except this one uses a different formula. It says an equals a1 r n minus 1. Again, that's a y equals, that's your first term. The first term here is 4. R is your rate, which you're multiplying by. From here to here, you're multiplying by 3. And the letter n just becomes x. Once you get that, you just always plug in your calculator. And then you can look at the table. The rate is 3. The value of A6, the 6th value, is 972. Alright, so I try to highlight just the stuff that's actually on the test that will really be helpful to you. You still have to do the rest of it, but these are the ones you should concentrate on to study. Alright, good luck on your finals.